Jaune Quick-to-See Smith's Target is one of the slyest and funniest and most devastating works in the National Gallery. In the 1950s and 1960s, artists like Andy Warhol, Jasper Johns, Robert Rauschenberg were taking to mass media and pop culture to find the materials and the subject matter for their art. Jasper Johns, in particular, started using symbols that he felt were so iconic as to have become meaningless, so ubiquitous in our world that they stopped registering on the visual plane. Things like maps that were seen in every classroom, things like the American flag, which was seen outside every building. He was interested in taking these images, these icons, and making paintings out of them. So the paintings, too, would just be things. They wouldn't be a representation of anything. They would simply be a thing. In the 1970s and 80s, along comes Jaune Quick-to-See Smith. Now, Smith was a member of the Salish and Kootenai Nation, and she grew up on the Flathead Reservation in Montana. And for her, these motifs were anything but meaningless. In a letter Jaune wrote to me recently, she said of Johns, his empty paintings that he insisted had no meanings and were just something to paint really do have meanings for America's first peoples. The U.S. map was a colonial settler map. It was the tool that the colonizing nation used to claim land from people who had lived there for generations and millennia, in fact. The target was a tool that people used to practice their sharpshooting. And as we all know, guns were a major technology that allowed the settler colonists to claim more and more space and to enact a massive genocide of First Nations Native American people on this continent. The U.S. flag was hardly neutral to First Nations and Native Americans who were having their sovereignty quashed by a new government. For Jaune Quick-to-See Smith, excavating the ways in which all of these symbols were not neutral but were deeply embedded in history, and in a history that was important to Native American people, was her goal. Her painting, Target, really takes on a lot of pop and proto-pop imagery and technique at the same time, where people like Warhol and Rauschenberg used to use newspaper photographs in their works. She is also using newspaper photographs. In her case, a lot of the newspaper photographs were from newspapers produced on Indian reservations. She wanted everyone to see what those texts and headlines read. And so if you look closely at the surface of this painting, you'll see all sorts of puns and jokes and also some very serious commentary on the state of the world. Like Johns, she uses a target, in this case in the form of a dartboard. She sticks the darts along the top edge of the dartboard to evoke feathered headdresses and the feathered arrows that Native Americans used to defend themselves. The surface of the painting here and these collaged elements all refer to the ways in which the sort of marginalization of Native Americans in contemporary culture continues. Jaune Quick-to-See Smith's painting is such an important reminder to us as viewers that no image is neutral, no image comes without a history and a politics, even if we, at first glance, aren't aware of it. she reminds us, I think, that our responsibility as art viewers is to think about the histories of the images that we're looking at, to think about the politics behind them. And it's a great reminder, I think, for makers that they too have the opportunity in their work to excavate, to unearth, to make clear what those histories and politics are as well.